At the beginning of the story, we see an elderly couple on their way to a party. Throughout the drive, they keep arguing over almost everything. Any topic that comes to mind quickly turns into a debate. They get so distracted that they nearly crash into another car. When they arrive at their son's house, Larry hides the bandage on Joan's hand under her shirt and reminds her that today she needs to tell the whole family about her cancer. Joan says she just needs one more day. She doesn't want to ruin the party. The family welcomes them warmly. Larry and Joan have been married for 65 years. Someone tells Joan that an old box of her photographs was found in the basement. One of the photos is from her first marriage, to a man named Luke, who was killed in the war. Suddenly, Larry begins to choke. He struggles to breathe and collapses to the floor. A few seconds later, his eyes snap open, and he wakes up on a train. When the train stops at a station, Larry notices that many people around him are wearing hospital clothes. He follows them and soon reaches a strange place called the Junction. People there are saying bizarre things he can't understand. Larry tells the receptionist that he has been kidnapped, but she calmly replies that nothing like that happened and asks him to sit and wait for his AC. Hours pass, the crowd thins out, and Larry falls asleep on a chair. That's when Anna arrives and calls his name. She explains that she is his AC, afterlife coordinator. This means Larry has died, and Anna's job is to guide him to the right place. Larry refuses to believe it. Anna shows him a mirror, and Larry is shocked to see that he is young again. Anna explains that when people arrive at the junction, their bodies take the form they had during the happiest time of their life. As Anna shows him around the building, Larry repeatedly insists that he wants to go back to his wife. Frustrated, Anna slaps him and tells him to stop crying. He's dead, yet still acting like this. She clarifies that this place is neither heaven nor hell. It's just a temporary stop. And once you choose your next life, the decision cannot be changed. Suddenly, an alarm sounds. Security guards are chasing a man who apparently escaped through a red door. Anna warns Larry never to do something like that. She then takes Larry to a temporary room where he is shown different versions of the afterlife based on various religions. Larry is given 7 days to choose his next life. The room contains his favorite clothes. After changing, he turns on the TV, but every channel keeps advertising different afterlife options. Start your new life here. No, start it here. Larry wanders around the junction and sees many stalls selling dreams of the afterlife. Eventually, he ends up at a bar. As soon as he sits down, a beautiful woman joins him and begins flirting, suggesting that his next life could be exciting. Larry politely refuses, saying he's married. The bartender, Luke, steps in and tells her that advertising inside the bar is not allowed. The woman leaves quietly. Larry asks Luke if he's an angel, but Luke replies that he's just a soul like Larry, currently working at the junction. Still confused, Larry listens as Luke explains the rules. Once you choose an afterlife, it cannot be changed. You cannot move to another life. If you break the rules, stay too long, or try to change your choice, you'll be sent to the void. The void is a place of eternal darkness. As they talk, Larry opens up about his wife's cancer. He promised to take care of her, and now he feels terrible that he arrived here before her. After a few drinks, Larry returns to his room and falls asleep. The next morning, Anna jumps onto his bed to wake him up, startling him badly. Larry asks why people work here. Anna explains that some people can't accept that they're dead. Some are waiting for loved ones, and the worst are those who can't make a choice at all. Larry asks about Joan, whether she will die soon. Anna says that information isn't available. Larry decides that he will wait for Joan. Anna warns him that the 7-day stay is free, but after that, he'll have to work there and move to the basement. Days pass, but Joan doesn't arrive. Anna tells Larry that it could take months, or maybe Joan's cancer has been cured. Larry then decides to build a small, beautiful home in Joan's memory, so everything will be ready when she arrives. That night, Larry writes a letter for his wife. At the very same moment, Joan dies from cancer and wakes up on a train. The next morning, Anna takes Larry toward his new life. Larry gives her the letter and asks her to deliver it to Joan. Anna says it's against the rule, but she'll try. Larry heads toward the station just as Joan steps off the train. On the escalator, Larry sees his wife, but Joan doesn't notice him. Anxious and heartbroken, Larry turns back. Joan looks at her reflection and sees her young face. Soon, the two finally meet and embrace lovingly. Joan already understands that she has died. She scolds Larry for dying in such a careless way, telling him he's foolish and should have eaten properly. Then Ryan, Joan's afterlife coordinator, arrives. He separates Joan from Larry and takes her to her first husband, Luke, who has been waiting for her for 67 years. When Joan sees Luke, she becomes overwhelmed with emotion. Suddenly, Larry jumps in between them and says casually, "Relax, these things happen. People die. It's normal. Come on, baby. Let's go to our world. I've already chosen a new life for you. Joan is completely confused. She doesn't understand what is happening. Soon she realizes that she must choose between her two husbands. Whichever one she chooses, she can build a new life with him. Ryan explains all the rules and takes Joan to her room. After changing clothes, he begins to show her the available options. Just then, Luke arrives. Overwhelmed by the fear of having to choose, Joan locks the door. Ryan insists that Luke is a good man. He has waited 67 years for her. Meanwhile, Larry vents his anger to Anna. Anna tells him that she and Ryan, Joan's AC, used to be in a relationship, and because they're fighting, Ryan might be intentionally speaking against Larry. Larry argues back, saying that he and Joan were married for 65 years. They had children and spent an entire lifetime together, while Luke didn't even live long enough to grow old. On the other side, Joan and Luke go for a walk through the junction. Both feel a bit awkward. Suddenly, guards rush past them, chasing a man who is trying to escape from the life he chose. One of the guards greets Luke and immediately recognizes Joan, saying, "So you finally made it here." This makes Joan feel strangely happy. It means Luke talks about her often. After the guards leave, Luke explains the rules to Joan and confesses his love. He tells her that he thought about her every single day. As he speaks lovingly, he leans in to kiss her, but Joan steps back, feeling uncomfortable. She says she needs time to think and quickly walks away. A few minutes later, Larry barges into Joan's room carrying several afterlife options. Joan panics and starts yelling at him. She repeats that she needs time to think. She tells him that the last few days have been overwhelming. After his death, her best friend also passed away. Larry feels oddly relieved. He never really liked that friend anyway. Larry remembers that doing squats always calmed Joan down. When she grew older, she couldn't do them anymore. Now being young again, she feels strong and it makes her happy. Later, Larry pretends to choke on food again. Joan panics, but Larry bursts out laughing and says, "Relax, I'm already dead. I was just joking." He lies down on the bed to relax, but Joan kicks him out of the room. Poor Larry is forced to go back to his basement room. On the way, he notices a poster advertising a show by the late singer Dean Martin, whom Joan absolutely loves. Larry asks Anna to arrange the show. When Larry reaches his new room, he's shocked by how small it is. The next morning, Larry takes Joan to the waiting area. Anna brings in the singer while playing the piano herself. However, the performer starts acting strangely and even falls down the stairs. That's when they realize he's not the real Dean Martin, just an impersonator who kept copying people even after death. Luke steps in, drags the impersonator away, and punches him. With Ryan's help, Luke then tries to give Joan flowers, but Larry interrupts again, accusing him of cheating and shouting, "How can you give her flowers? I'm the one giving gifts." The two men start arguing once more. Joan finally loses her patience and screams at both of them to stop. She takes Anna and Ryan into her room and vents her anger at them for a long time. Frustrated, she demands a solution. How is she supposed to make such a decision? The coordinators make a long phone call to request an exception to the rules. Eventually, Joan brings both husbands into the room. The coordinators explain that her case is special, so she has been granted a special visa. Joan is allowed to choose twice. Once she can experience a life with Larry. Once she can experience a life with Luke. After that, she must make a final decision. Larry and Luke immediately start arguing over who should go first, and the fight nearly turns physical. Joan yells again and says they'll decide by tossing a coin. Even that leads to more arguing until Ryan steps in to stop them. Larry flips the coin, and Luke wins. During the train ride, Luke and Joan reminisce about their past. Soon they arrive at a beautiful mountain landscape with clear skies and lush green forests. They walk hand in hand, enjoying each other's company. In the evening, they have dinner at a restaurant. Joan keeps talking about her children and grandchildren, which makes Luke slightly uncomfortable. He tells her that he's not upset. He's just sad that he couldn't give her the life she had. Still, he's happy that Joan lived a good and full life. Joan tells Luke that she did wait for him for a long time, but eventually she had no choice. He was gone. People don't come back after death. Then Luke took Joan to a place called the Archive. This place exists in every chosen afterlife, where souls can relive the memories of their lives. Together, they watched all the important moments of their relationship. Their first meeting, their first kiss, their wedding day, and the final promise Luke made before going off to war. Joan finally kissed Luke again. She told him that she had completely broken after his death. As the memories continued, Luke saw how Larry proposed to Joan. Seeing this, Luke stormed out of the building in anger. He said that Larry had taken advantage of a grieving woman's feeling, that he had seized the opportunity. Joan tried to explain that it wasn't like that, but Luke wouldn't listen. Meanwhile, Larry was furious because Luke kept telling everyone that he had died in the war while fighting the enemy. By portraying himself as a hero, how was Larry supposed to compete? Larry was afraid that Joyanne might choose Luke. Anna told him to remind Joyanne why she loved him. Larry replied that he himself didn't even know why she loved him, but he knew someone who might be able to explain. After a while, Larry met Joyanne's best friend Karen, who looked quite old. Karen said that her happiest days came after her husband died, because only then was she able to live her life freely. She told Larry that she hadn't liked him at all in the beginning, but slowly she had started to. Larry said he didn't care about that. He just wanted to know why Joyanne liked him. Karen said she didn't know the reason, but she could say one thing for sure. Larry had kept Joyanne very happy. Later, Larry went into Luke's room looking for some secret. There were marks on the wall showing that Luke had been counting every single day since his death, and in his book he had been drawing sketches of Joyanne. Just then, Luke arrived and started yelling at Larry, accusing him of doing wrong by Joyanne, of taking advantage of her when she was broken. They got into a pointless fight, pushing each other. During the scuffle, Larry's letter fell out of his pocket. Luke then said that the place where Larry had proposed was a special place for him and Joyanne. So obviously Joyanne would feel lonely there after Luke was gone. Larry had used that loneliness to win her over. The next day, Larry took Joyanne to see another life, one at a beach. It was a very popular life, so there were lots of people there. They started talking and were just about to kiss when a boy hit Larry with a ball and ruined the mood by saying, "Do you know how I died?" Later, they took a boat out into the sea. Larry apologized to Joyanne for not being with her at the time of her death. He also talked about how happy their children would have been seeing them together. Joyanne accused him of trying to change her mind and called him clever for bringing up children. They started arguing again. Joyanne said that Larry didn't understand her situation, that she had loved both of them at different times and had promised to spend her life with both. Larry replied that if he were in Luke's place, he would have waited for her too. After returning, Joyanne wanted to look at her memories with Larry, but Larry refused. He said that people can lose themselves in memory, and he wanted to protect her from that. Joyanne felt that Larry was scared of what might come out. They sat by the shore and talked about their first date. Larry said that all he ever wanted was to give her a better life. At the junction, Luke found Larry's letter. Meanwhile, Joyanne and Larry returned from their date and kissed. Larry said that it didn't matter where they went, as long as they were together. Then Luke gave Larry's letter to Joyanne. Reading it, Joyanne realized that Larry had almost left, but had stayed only because he saw her while leaving. Another argument broke out. Joyanne called Larry selfish. Larry replied that he had always been her second choice, and that Luke himself had been intimate with many souls. Luke shouted back angrily that in 67 years, being close to a few souls didn't matter. He had still been waiting for Joyanne. After all, even souls have needs. Both men demanded that she choose one of them, but Joyanne needed more time. The coordinators then took both souls away. A little later, Karen brought Joyanne a drink, and Joyanne broke down crying. Karen comforted her and took her around to different fun booths to distract her. While drinking, Joyanne talked about her condition. Karen reminded her that she was already dead and that wedding vows say till death do us part. Death had already done that, so why think so much? Live your life on your own terms. Outside, Larry and Luke were also drinking heavily. After several drinks, they began bonding and praising each other, saying that the girl wasn't worthy of either of them and that they were both great men. The next morning, Joyanne woke up with a hangover, but had made her decision. She called both her husbands and said she was lucky to have spent her life with both of them, but she couldn't choose one and become the villain for the other. She would always feel guilty, so she chose neither of them and decided to live her own life. Joyanne then got ready and decided to spend her future with Karen. The two friends would enjoy life together. Meanwhile, Larry told Luke that he was right. He had proposed at that place to erase Luke's memories from Joyanne's mind. He may have even died after seeing Luke and Joyanne's wedding photo. Luke admitted that he too was jealous of the life Larry had lived with Joyanne. Larry then realized that everyone's appearance reflected the most beautiful moments of their lives. Luke looked like he did when Joyanne agreed to marry him. Larry looked like he did when Joyanne was pregnant with their second child. This realization struck Larry suddenly. He ran to Joyanne. At the station, he found her on a train and asked her to come down one last time. He pointed out that her hair was long now, while it was short during their wedding, meaning her most beautiful moments were with Luke. He told her to choose Luke and always be happy. At first, Joyanne refused, but Larry insisted. Crying, they hugged one last time. Later, Luke and Joyanne boarded the train to start their new life. Larry wandered around the junction, unsure where to go. He saw Anna and Ryan reunited and felt happy for them. Luke and Joyanne began their new life together and were happy, but over time, Joyanne started doubting her decision. She went back to the archives and watched her first meeting with Larry. For days, Luke took her to different activities, but nothing made her happy. Every night, she went to the archives to relive her life with Larry, A clerk warned her that living too much in memories wasn't healthy and that she needed to move on. One night, Luke said how perfect their life was, but Joyanne had no response. The next morning, Luke wanted to go somewhere again, but Joyanne finally broke down. She said she had made a mistake choosing Luke. Luke got angry and yelled. Joyanne explained that she had been happiest with Luke because it was youthful love. No rent worries, no job stress, no children. But love isn't just good moments. It includes bad ones too. She said Luke loved the Joyanne from 67 years ago, but she had changed. Joyanne decided to try to go back, even if she got caught. Crying, she said she had loved Luke, but now loved Larry. A few hours later, she practiced opening a door with a knife while planning her escape. Luke returned and said he would help her. They went to the archives where the red door was. Luke pretended to be distraught in front of the clerk to distract the guards, and Joyanne slipped inside. Luke followed as a normal client. They watched their wedding memories and said goodbye one last time. Joyanne went deeper into her memories and entered the red door, which led to the corridor of her childhood memory. The alarm sounded and guards arrived. She ran and entered the door of Luke's death memory. A washing machine door dropped her into a memory of her fight with Larry. As guards approached, she blocked the door with a chair and ran upstairs, where she saw her old self. Even while dying, old Joyanne took Larry's name. The younger Joyanne hid under the bed, then crawled onto the train tracks, passed through the tunnel, and returned to the junction. At reception, she asked about Larry, but her wanted notice appeared, and she had to run again. In the booth area, she ran into Ryan and Anna, who hid her and misled the guard. She asked where Larry's future life was, and the coordinator's answer shocked her. Larry didn't want any life without Joyanne. She rushed to Larry, who was working as a bartender. They each took a drink, and Joyanne asked him to come with her, warning that she had broken the rules and he could get trapped. Larry agreed without hesitation. Soon after, they chose a life that was just like their old married home, the neighborhood where they had spent their entire life together. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.